Hey girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Oliver Davis from the Circuit Symphony, and I've set myself a challenge over Christmas to do one song entirely on the Crave. So let's go and take a look. So the first thing that we will do is just take a little listen to some sections of the song. As you can see, there's lots of multi-tracks, but there's a reason behind that, which you'll see in a minute. And this is the outro. So as you can see, there's a lot going on there. Right, let's start with the drums, I think. There are a couple of things that isn't the Crave, which is a more of a lower end kick, an 80s sampled snare, and just a couple of hand claps and some hi-hats. The rest is the Crave. So if I just loop the chorus section. So all these recorded in obviously over MIDI, track by track. And what we'll do later on in this video is just take a look at how to create some of these sounds, some of the more interesting sounds. So let's solo some of these. Obviously we got the kick. And I've called this wood kick. It's quite a woody kick. And then we've got the snares. Now I call this For You snares. I don't know if anybody can realise why, but really influenced by the John Anderson songs, the 7 album. The first track, For You, For Me, which use a TR drum through a sort of phaser. So I've done the same here. So I've put this through just a nice little phaser and nothing more than that. So this is what it sounds like without the phaser. So put the phaser on just to do that. And I've also played on the stereo field as well with panning, which I've done a lot in this song. What else we got? Close hi-hats, sort of. And again, played on the stereo field. And then I've done a sort of resonant, self-resonating drum filling with that, which I'll show you later on in the video of how I made that. But then if we just bring in the other non-Crave samples, just to give a, just so you know what you're listening to there. But everything else is the Crave. Okay, let's stop that one. So I think the next thing we're going to go to is my favourite. I love arpeggiators, love them. Although I can't say it properly. Again, all this is the Crave. The only effects I've used in this is lots of dynamic effects, EQ, delay, reverb. That's probably about it. There's nothing that really transforms the sound itself. So I'm staying as loyal as I can, but making it as good as I can. But the whole point of this process is to prove how you can literally make this track just using the one oscillator Crave and really pushing boundaries with the production, because if you notice, I've reversed a lot of tracks. I've played on the stereo field a lot, because you're limited with the Crave, just the Crave, which is really, really good to be limited. It makes you think about, okay, what else can I do to this production rather than just pull another instrument in. So let's look at these sparkly arpeggiators then. So this is what we got. Oh, there we are. So we'll keep the loop point the same. So we have this. and the effects here on the master bus, which is just some nice sort of modulation reverb, and sort of an inverted version of what you just heard, and this. So very simple, percussive, short, percussive sounds, put through a little bit of reverb. And that's about it for that. And again, later on in the video, I'll show you how to create some of those sounds. But as you can see, I've got chords in this track, which I thought was very interesting. So what I did, I took the original MIDI file. This track is an original from 2007. Then I soloed each note of the 4 or 5 chords I'm playing, created a nice pad or string sound or whatever, bounced that down, muted that note and muted the next key and recorded it. And I've done it in 1 octave from, every other one is a different octave, slightly detuned, slightly panned, and this is what we have there. And again on this, the only thing I've got is, I'm panning and just a bit of reverb. So we just got the pan in there. And again, let's solo 1. So this is what I've got now, if you listen carefully now. So that's just a low note. And that keeps on repeating until we build up. It'd be better if I show you where we are here. So it did take some time to record this section. But hey, that's what they used to do in the olden days. And then just for the fun of it, I actually played the whole polyphonic MIDI section through one of the voices, which was obviously monophonic. And it came out quite interesting, actually. So I decided to capture that as well, which I wouldn't have sort of done if I didn't have to do it like this. So that's another plus side to the limitation. So this is the, you can hear the polyphonic chords cutting off, and so we got that. Let's take a look at the next section. Oh, again, more chords as well, which is this section here. So again, let's take this section and loop this. So again, playing on the stereo field with this one. So if I turn off the master effects from this, just so you can hear the raw sound, taking a lot of the bottom end off just so it cuts through the mix. And I've done exactly the same, multi-tracked all the individual notes, one by one, from start to finish of the song. Panned. And obviously slightly detuned, but every time I go back, there's a slight variation. But one other thing I've done is, which is, again, another... The way just doing this, limiting yourself just to this, makes you think. Well, I thought, I would love it if all these multiple audio tracks of the chord could be sent through the filter and recorded back down. So that's what I've done. So I sent all these chords there that you can hear out to a direct output, and then literally connected into the Crave, into the audio, into the mixing, sent it through the filter that manually opened and closed the filter, which I'll show you how to do, which again is massively influenced from Elton John's A Song for Guy, I think, which which really influenced me for that. And this is what that sounds like. So what you're hearing now is all these multiple tracks, this and that, but played through the Crave's analog filter, well, analog everything, and then back in. And again, through a little bit of reverb and stereo panning. And then when played back together with the original, so the next one is the mid section, which is supposed to be like a polyphonic. Sure, I used JX8P on the original. So let's have a look what that sounds like here. Again, just lots of delay. There's a bit of filtering going on there. So we'll turn that off, just so you can hear the raw. Yeah, there we go. So this is purely the Crave that you can hear now. Okay, so the next one is the hook, is the main sort of hook to the track, which a few years later I found that sounded very much like the Scatman hook, which wasn't intentional, but that's not bad. I'm happy with that. And this was originally done on a JX3P using the accordion patch through lots of chorus and delay. So let's have a look at that. Here we go. So I've laid up quite a lot here. Actually, listen to that on its own, it sounds quite far out of tune. And then this. Lots of reverb. Ducking and diving on the audio. And again this. And all together. Which is pretty cool. Right, let's have a look at the bass section next. Okay, here we go. So nice percussive bass, which was originally a Poly 6. Quite a lot of EQ, just to make it cut through the mix really. And then I've added a sort of an arpeggiated sustained bass. Quite TB sounding actually now when I listen back to it. And this little sequence, which I've taken the bottom end right out. And again, I could have done that on the filter, but I decided to capture the whole thing just in case I wanted to use it at a later date. And this is your classic bass line, just to beef it up a bit. And then I've added some little pitch bends in there, which are here. So that's the bass section, pretty busy actually. And again, I put those sort of moogie bends in just to add something, because I didn't know what to put there. And again, if I wasn't limited to just the Crave or one instrument, I would have dragged a sample in, but I decided to be a little bit more creative and make it more interesting. So again, being limited will really push your creativity, and it's really, really good. So what else have we got? Oh, CS Brass. Now I'm sure we know where that's coming from. And again, later we'll go through some of these patches. Here we go. Actually, listen to it back. It sounds nothing like a CS. I don't even know why I call it that. But anyway. Again, so I've been reversing some tracks there. There we go. I have no idea why I call that CS. So it's a very simple portmanteau patch, and I've recorded each octave and again played on the panning. What's the next one? Oh, the lows. Again, was originally a JX8P. Let's take a listen to that. Here we go. So let me make sure I turn any effects off. So I've got a bit of unison on there, just to widen it for a bit of production reasons. So that's all there is the same of the two tracks. One octave lower and detuned and obviously panned. And the other one octave higher, detuned. And a touch of unison or chorus in there, and that's that. Oh, effects, my favourite. And I'm a sucker for white noise, which maybe in another video will show you why. So the first thing, we've got the wind. Let's just solo that, and here's the wind, which is delay, phase, or phaser delay, and that's your lot. So it's very similar to a French guy I know. Bit of side chaining just to make me be cool. And this was done just using an LFO to modulate the cutoff, which I'll show you later. Of course, you could have done it manually to give it a bit more interaction, but I didn't. Just to be safe now, let's look. Yeah, so we've got, yeah, a bit of delay. This is for my panning, that's for the side chaining, reverb, phaser, and a bit of delay on there. So there's nothing much going on there. Let's have a look at the next one. Take a listen to this. So I'll take that off, effects off, phaser off, and sidechain just for now. And that's just, sounds like some FM going on. And pitch envelope, LFO to the filter, cut off frequency, and just messing around with that really through the track. And again, we'll have a look how I've done that later on. And then the FX Jet. Now the JX8 had a patch called Jet, which I used on this, on the original of this track from 2007. And let's just see what that sounds like. Yeah, it's just a simple inverted envelope with a bit of reverb, I think, by the sounds of it. Yeah. Oh, and panned. And that's it. You know, that's all there is to this particular track. But I found it really exciting because I had to push my creativity personally. And although the track's nothing amazing, but for me, thinking about putting in some white noise just to fill some gaps, or reversing some tracks, introducing hi-hats to only particular sections, not to give it all away at once. That's what I've learned from this.